Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here bright and early. As you can see from the posted agenda, we're going to focus most of our time on sort of internal topics to the SEAL program. I wanted to go over a few key updates about some of the changes that have occurred recently, but also to touch base on the survey results. So the responses from the survey that we launched just over a month ago. I wanted to give us a chance to take a look at that and give you an opportunity to pose any questions or provide any insights as well. From that, we will go into overview of kind of some of the team engagement strategies. So from that data, my colleague Amanda Johnson-Prano pulled out some of those best practices with regards to team engagement, and so she'll be sharing that with us in just a moment. And then we wanted to wrap up with Michelle Powell, who is from the Erlanger Institute of Healthcare and Innovation. She was actually with us 2 months ago when Jill Stillman spoke to us about the Institute, and she'll be touching on the job shadowing program that they have going on. So let's jump into a couple of those updates I mentioned. You should have received last week an email regarding the Children's Hospital Tours, so the new facility. That is available on the EOL site now. You can see the dates posted there. This is an opportunity for you as SEALs to go out and view the new facility if you have not already, or perhaps you have and you want to get back out again. So it is limited, unfortunately, to 20 people. That's just for safety precaution and also limited space there as they're moving around. But we have 3 slots. McCarthy Construction was kind enough to kind of find 3 times for us on 3 different days, kind of different times during the day to try to give you guys as many opportunities, given your different schedules. If you are interested and if you have not gone there yet to sign up, do so now. At last glance, I think there were maybe just over half the slots had been filled already. So of the 60, I think, yes, around 33, 35 or something. Get signed up for that. If for some reason some of those dates don't work for you, or those dates don't work for you and you would like to still get in, if you recall, Mary Rustick from the foundation spoke with us last month. You can reach out to her, and they are doing regular tours as well. Perhaps you can get on one of those, or she can maybe arrange for you. And if that doesn't work, you can just reach out to Taylor, myself, Amanda. We have a contact with McCarthy who can maybe get you set up. Also, if after doing the tour, you'd like to take your team, folks from your department, that'd be a great opportunity to kind of promote engagement in your area and get those folks out, give them a chance to see the new facility. So the OD team visited 2 months ago, and of course a lot has happened in terms of moving towards opening since then, but even at that point, you could kind of see this was definitely a wonderful facility. It's going to be a great asset for Erlanger and, of course, a great resource for healthcare for kids here in the region. So take advantage of it if you can. That'd be great. Are there any questions about those tours? Raise your hand if you did not get that email. I want to make sure everybody's okay. And then I sent an email out last week as well on the meal ticket request process. And also, you should all be receiving the roster that goes out weekly for new hires that are starting on each Monday. In that is a link to the meal ticket request process. So this is also kind of coming from that data you provided in the survey. Many of you voiced the idea that you would love to keep some sort of incentive for that onboarding program. And so what we did was kind of full transparency. We looked at the money that was going toward, that had been allocated for this fiscal year, going toward those meal tickets that you typically received when you came for the Monday lunch. So those were $7 a head. Because we're catering now at the new facility, the majority of those funds shifted towards the catering for the new hires. And again, unfortunately, we don't have space to have new hires, managers, SEALs, and everyone having lunch there. But with the reduced number, we were able to shift some of the money toward this meal ticket process. So basically, all you have to do is, in the roster, if you see you have someone starting this coming week, just simply go to the form, fill out the information, and it will send you a confirmation, which you then print, and you can then take that to the register here at, if you're in the bistro or Starbucks, here on the main campus. Now, we're in the process of trying to make these connections with the folks at East, North, Bledsoe, so that you can utilize those there. At the moment, that has not gone through. If either of you work at those areas and you know the contact person for those campuses in terms of the cafeteria, Sodexo, whatever, just let us know. I've got a couple of emails out that are still unanswered, but we want to make sure that that's an opportunity for you as well on the facilities that are not here on main campus. But simply print that out and take that, and it's a $5 meal ticket. So because the price of catering was a bit more than we were hoping for, it was definitely more than that $7 a head we were paying previously for the ones here at the bistro. That number had to be reduced to $5. So it's still something and a great incentive for you guys to reach out to those new hires who are starting in your departments, set up a time to take them to coffee, get a snack, get a light meal, and be able to sort of engage with them and make sure that that onboarding experience is the one that we want it to be for our employees here. I can actually show you. Let's take a look. So yeah, when you go to the site here, click on that link for the request. It just asks for your name, department information. And you can take up to 5 new hires on this, and it's $5 per head for those folks. And then it is because of the fact that we are now kind of sending these out electronically, and we do want to keep tabs on this. Before it was easier as you're just sort of handing out a ticket. It's easier to account for where the funds are going. In this case, we do want a manager signature on this. If you are a manager, sometimes the managers, instead of seals, are taking these folks on, it's simply their signature, but we do want authorization for this, and they do need to see that it's signed when they cash that in. So, and then once you click submit, it sends that confirmation and you're good to go. Any questions about the meal ticket process? Okay. And then on to our survey results. So we had over 120 responses out of 180 or so seals, so that's great. Thank you so much for your feedback. We appreciate you guys taking the time to share your insights on how you feel about the program. Kind of going back to our objectives for the survey, we wanted to measure your take on our impact thus far, so in your particular departments and on organizational level as a whole. We wanted to kind of get a sense of how you felt about the program, so gauge your satisfaction. And then, of course, we're looking for areas where we need to improve, and then also identifying, as I mentioned, those best practices, which you'll hear a bit about that from Amanda in just a moment. So in kind of clumping the questions from the survey as they relate to those objectives, I just wanted to kind of put these up there to give you guys a chance to look at those results. If you have questions about any of this or any insights you want to share, please feel free to speak up. I just wanted to kind of scroll through some of these. We'll send this out maybe in PDF form at a later time, but for now I wanted to kind of give you a chance to look at where the different results landed for each of the questions. And overall, I think nothing really jumped out as a complete surprise to us. We did see that we kind of have a good skewed curve, skewed in the direction that we wanted to, right? Mostly agree and strongly agree. But the fact that we do have some indifference in terms of neutrality or even disagreement, any is not good at all. So we want to make sure we're kind of shifting that direction as much as we can and hearing your voice on what you think this program is and could be. So this is how you view your work in terms of its impact on customer-patient satisfaction. And this is as it relates to team engagement in your particular department. So a little bit better in this area, so we're happy to see that. And then in terms of satisfaction with the program, again, it's mostly where we want it to be, but still room for improvement on that. Kind of under that same umbrella of satisfaction, how you view your work in terms of its meaning. And then this was good to us in the sense that, even a number of the open-ended questions, the anecdotal comments that you guys provided, showed that you really do appreciate being kind of plugged in to sort of those sources of information about what's going on here. And that's going to be an area we're going to want to lean into more as we move forward with the program. Kind of in concert with other comments about, it is difficult for a lot of you to get to the meetings. We're going to look at ways to maybe beef up what we do in terms of electronically so that that information can get disseminated that way. And I think most of you probably already know that, of course, we offer a recorded version of these meetings online if you are unable to attend. So that is something, if you were not aware, we wanted to make sure we shared out. Some folks were not aware that that was an option. So if you cannot make these meetings, you can view that information online. But we want to look at ways to make that a little more engaging as we move forward. So in terms of opportunities for improvement, and I always say you can tell I taught children in middle school, there's the opportunities, right? So we were surprised. Initially, we had a few folks stop by and speak to us saying that their manager wasn't really fully aware of what your role was as a SEAL. Fortunately, the numbers didn't continue to go in a dire direction. In the end, it looks like most folks have strong manager support, and that's really good. But the fact that there are even any managers out there that aren't aware of the SEAL program, whether they're new, perhaps they're a new manager, or they're just not as plugged into the efforts of the SEAL program, it's an opportunity for us to reach out to those managers and ensure that they kind of understand the ideas behind the SEAL program. So one of the ways we'd like to do that is to send something out, actually perhaps even in the form of a survey to kind of get feedback from them, something short, but send a communication out so that make sure everyone's kind of on the same page about what this program is trying to achieve. Another sort of opportunity for us, we thought, would be to work with you to look for strategies to increase the frequency with which you're having huddles in your department. Now, we know that this is very department specific. Some departments are big, some are small, some meet more, some meet less. But whatever ways we can help you leverage your influence in your area, we'd like to do that. If you recall, last month, I kind of put together some of that information that came from the survey, also some of the information that was part of your certification, and even going back to the previous version of SEALs, the SEALs program, looking at sort of huddle tips and strategies for employing those in your area. There are those tips are on a sort of one-pager sheet right out there. If you had a chance to grab that today, take a look at that. And maybe try to employ some of those tools into your work in your departments. And this was another one too. Again, we're looking at fairly good results here, but we thought that even some of the comments around your understanding of your role as a SEAL pointed us to the idea that, look, we could even get more clarity on this. We could get more refined on the mission, the goal, the purpose of your role as a SEAL. So you're going to be a part of that conversation as we move forward, but we wanted to kind of look at your survey information and hopefully in the next month or two kind of present a clear vision of what this program is about. Again, these are pretty good results, but we can always shift toward the better end of the spectrum there. And then in terms of best practices, I mentioned some of the ones that came out in terms of conducting huddles, but we wanted to give you a chance to look at some of the information that came from your ideas on team engagement. So one of those questions was, what are some of the things that you're doing in your department to promote team engagement? Out of that came a lot of great information that my colleague Amanda Johnson-Prano had a chance to sit down and kind of dive through and all packaged well in sort of this one-pager document that she'd like to give you a commentary on here in just a moment. Did everyone meet Amanda from the last meeting? I know our meetings change. Amanda joined us back in August and is part of the SEAL support team.
Right. Thank you so much, Patrick. So, good morning, everyone. You've probably seen me standing up there, here and there, just saying good morning like some random person. If I haven't gotten to meet you, I look forward to engaging more with each of you. I did start back in August, and I do plan to be a bigger part of the SEALs program with Patrick and Taylor, so I'm pretty excited about that. What I want to first say is thank you wholeheartedly for each of you taking time to respond to this survey and give us this valuable information. It is very much our goal to take what you've given us and turn this into something that's that much more valuable for you and for Erlanger as a whole. We really believe in the mission, and we know that you do, and we know that you want to, live by these values and be the best SEAL that you can be, and bring that back to your teams, of course, too. So hopefully each of you has gotten one of these documents. It was up on that countertop when you walked in. If you didn't get one, raise your hand, and we can get you one. Okay, so just a few. Patrick and Taylor, they'll be by to give each of you one of these. So as Patrick alluded to, in going through all of the feedback that you all left on the survey and that the other group left as well, really we started to see themes. And that's kind of how the information, raise your hand again if you didn't get one of those. Okay, so Patrick will drop those off to you. Just keep your hand raised until he comes by if you don't mind. Thank you. So again, there were themes, and so that's kind of how we decided to break the information down on this document for you, and we wanted to make this easy for you to consume. It's just one page for quick reference, but it's honestly pages of really thoughtful commentary from each of you on what you're doing currently to engage your teams. And so these categories are kind of, interacting and inspiring those that you work with to, affect the greater good of Erlanger, preparing them, helping promote the work that they're doing, helping to inspire them through, promoting more engagement, ways to create and share with your teams, and also simply celebrating things. You all are doing a really great job at celebrating milestones and birthdays and service anniversaries, just, all kinds of things. And that's really important part of engaging, to make people feel like they're valued and they're meaningful and the work that they do is meaningful. So really great job on all of that. So if you glance at this, you'll probably see that there's a lot of things that you're doing on here, but you may be hopefully inspired by some things that maybe you're not doing that other SEALs are doing. So what we encourage you to do is, socialize amongst each other. I know it's probably hard. Everybody's got so many things going on, but this is a reflection of all of you. So we encourage you to, get some coffee with another SEAL and kind of find out how are you doing some of these things with your team. If you haven't done that yet, it could be a great way to learn a little bit more about how to, bring more engagement to your team. One of the things that we've learned in working in learning and development, I say we, Patrick, my other colleagues, when you do this for a really long time, you start to learn that one of the best ways people learn is socially from each other. And that's a reflection of this right here. We can try to formalize and structure training and learning and development opportunities as much as possible, but we really do learn from each other. So we just encourage you to try to, reach out and, dig deeper with one another. One other thing I want to point out here as you browse through these, there is one listed under the create and share category. So, creating visual management boards for keeping team members up to date and informed each shift. There's an asterisk on that, and it's talking about the Lean 101 instructor-led classes at the bottom in that gray box. Raise your hand if you have attended the Lean 101 class. Okay, so a good amount of this room. For those of you who have not attended it, I would strongly recommend that you click the link here listed in this document, and we can send you an electronic version of this as well, or just copy and paste it, or reach out to one of these people to get more information. That Lean 101 session will actually give you a good amount of information and kind of an overview of the benefit of visual management boards and huddles and kind of how you can make them best work for your team. And also the operational effectiveness team, they're happy to consult with you as well to help you really get the best value out of those tools for your teams, for greater engagement, greater effectiveness. So definitely review that information. And any questions so far about this document or, any comments? Okay, if you have any questions at any point later on, or you want to, just add any more feedback or share anything, feel free to reach out to myself or Patrick. We'd love to learn more about what you're doing, or if you have, questions about something somebody else is doing, we'd be happy to talk to you more. So thank you so much for your time, and I believe Taylor may have a couple things that she'd like to share. Okay, thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you got my email. I have an after-hours event for Erlanger employees. There's a couple of flyers if you want to get them for your departments. It's just an opportunity for Erlanger to bring family or friends, but you must arrive with your badge to get in. They're going to offer Venture Southside has got over 100 local artisans and pickers, and it's on Thursday, November 15th from 4:30 to 7. They're offering 10% off the entire store, and then other vendors are going to offer other discounts. There's going to be wine and cheese and other items, and it's at the 2121 Chestnut Street location, so it's just downtown. Do y'all have any questions? It's kind of, okay, so you go Broad Street going towards like St. Well, it's Broad Street where Main Street kind of meet. Yeah, you'll turn coming from Erlanger. If you're coming on Broad Street, you'll take a right on Main Street, and then it'll be on Chestnut Street. You'll take a left on Chestnut Street. So it's kind of by Finley, but it's kind of a new store, and they've got like home goods stuff. They have hot sauce. They have just like some vendors you'll see at the farmer's market, and some other things. It's a really cool store. Any other questions? Okay, Patrick, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, I'm back again. We're going to talk a little bit about the job shadowing program. Michelle Powell, who is overseeing that, she is going to be here shortly. She's stuck in our wonderful Chattanooga traffic right now. So let me go ahead and show you. So who all has ever had an interest, or has ever had anyone express an interest in job shadowing opportunities? Okay, so we've got a few people. Anybody been interested in learning more about this? Did you even know it was something that we offered? No? Okay. Michelle has all kinds of exciting information that she would share. Let me go ahead and show you, though. If you go to erlanger.org, of course, which is, oops. Okay, so from our main page of our website, if you just scroll to the very bottom, we all know there's a lot of items of information. Here's Michelle now, getting you started.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm not quite sure where she got, but she's in the right spot. So, my name's Michelle Powell. Most of you might know Nancy Stevenson. She was over job shadowing for quite a few years. Now that has kind of been passed to me, and we've done some streamlining for our job shadowing process. So, like she said, if you go to that main webpage, www.erlanger.org, and click on the quick link, well, they've changed the front of it. It kind of confused me for a second. Down at the bottom here, you'll see one for job shadowing. One thing I want to point out that I think has been some confusion in the past is that if a employee or an outside source wants to shadow a physician, that goes through a separate entity, and that's the UT College of Medicine. And I've supplied that information as well with the link so that it's all in one place and there's no confusion about where to go. So if you ever have someone ask about shadowing a physician, they must be 18 years old. I do know that, but once outside of that, the rules and regulations that they have in place for their shadowing program is under that link. But down below that, it kind of gives you the qualifications. They must complete the application, which is here. They must provide their documentation of their immunization records, a negative TB skin test, basically just like an employee, and a flu vaccine from October through March. And then once they submit that to this job shadowing at erlanger.org, which is me, I will review it, make sure everything looks okay, and then forward them HIPAA training and privacy and security training. At that time, I'll be speaking with them through email and deciding who it is they want to shadow. A lot of times they already know a person that has volunteered to let them shadow them. But if I need to assist, I usually just give them the name and number of the department, and then it's between that department and that shadower to decide what dates, if any. We really strongly encourage everyone to try to help them because this is a service that we provide the community. But when it's busy and it's flu season and there are staffing issues, we know that sometimes they may need to push back on their dates. Some of the high school students especially are kind of, they're high school kids, so they wait to the last minute and they say, okay, in 2 weeks I need to do this because I have a deadline. And, you know, as long as their stuff is in place and it's okay with that department, that's fine. But they also need to be respectful of the fact that you guys are busy and have staffing things that you need to take care of first. So we'll just all work together and try to accommodate the best we can. And then I can have a badge made. We're reworking the policy right now. There's really no deadline of when they should get this shadowing in. They only get 20 hours a year. But we've had some kids that's doing a day here, and then 3 months later a day, and then another 3 months later, and that's kind of confusing and hard to keep up with paperwork and badges. We don't want a badge to have a 6-month expiration date. That's just not safe for Erlanger. So I think, and it's not been put in stone, we're probably going to have like a 30-day window for a badge. So they'll probably need to get in their 20 hours within 30 days. Does anyone have any questions about this process? Yes.
A couple years ago, I attempted to do this for my daughter when she was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And the problem that we came upon was getting a TB skin test.
Okay.
At that time, the health department wouldn't give us one. They were short in supply or something, or they just, I couldn't get it, and I wasn't going to have her go through a chest x-ray.
Right. That's interesting. So far, I have not found that to be an issue. I've been doing this for a couple of months now. If it becomes a problem and you hear about that or someone experiences that, please let me know and I will follow up and see what we need to do to remedy that situation. Maybe a workforce could help us out with that. I don't know. So far, it hasn't been an issue. Maybe it was just that year. But we'll see what we can do if we start to run into problems like that. And somebody asked me at the last SEALS meeting, and this real quick, if somebody wants to be a volunteer, does that go through you? And the answer to that is no. That is provided for volunteer services, and they also have a link up above the job shadowing link, volunteering, and they have several different. But the volunteering information is built in within that. Well, I thank you for your time. If nobody else has any questions, and I'll be back next month to talk about our mentoring program for the Erlanger Institute over at Howard. So if you know some people that might be willing to help with this, kind of go ahead and put that in your mind. I need some men, clinicians. It doesn't matter what field. We have quite a bit of young men in our institute, and I think they could really benefit from some male mentors. So if you know someone you think might be good at that or would be interested in it, it's a very minimal commitment. And I'll talk about what dates there are for information and training here at Erlanger. There'll be 2 different days, and we'll talk about that next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I was just looking around the room. We don't have any gentlemen. So as she mentioned, she'll be back to speak with us about the mentoring program as part of the Institute next month. I did want to kind of open the floor up for any questions from you guys regarding any of the topics covered today or any other needs you might have in your area with regards to your SEAL work. Things going good? All right. In that case, we were going to turn back some of that time to you and give you back some of that time so that you can go on and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate your work as a SEAL and for joining us. And if you ever have any questions or any comments, feel free to touch base with us. I'll hang around in the back. You can always email us, drop comments in the box there. Just get in touch. Thanks so much.